Hello and welcome to the University of Law. In today's video I'm going to give you a reading list of the releases that I've been watching / listening to in anticipation of the 8th Doctor Time War Volume 5 that is dropping this week, Wednesday the 18th of January. So the obvious one to start with, of course, is this, The Wonderful Night of the Doctor, that came out 10 years ago this year, 10 years ago in November. The reason why I've been watching this back is because it features Cass, and the box set is called Cass. Obviously, there's going to be some kind of parallel universe or timey-wimey stuff going on here as to how she can appear, in advance, because this is the 8th Doctor's last ever story. But it'll be fun to see how it pans out, and certainly listening to the preview on the podcast, the first 15 minutes this week, there's certainly some parallels between Cass's introduction in the new release and her introduction in this story here. So that's been, any excuse to revisit Night of the Doctor, I will take. Now, it's not just Cass who returns in this box set. It's also the Doctor's great-grandson, Alex. And I was actually surprised doing my research for this in that I thought he'd been in more than just 4 previous Big Finish releases, because he felt like such a major part of that journey of the 8th Doctor and Lucy Miller. But no, he's only in 4 stories. He made his debut with An Earthly Child. Then Relative Dimensions, which is a lovely Christmas. Both of them came out at Christmas. They're both lovely Christmas stories. This one in particular, it's nice fun. Story with some good callbacks to some earlier stories. But I think it coincided with the release of a companion chronicle that kind of connected. Both written by Mark Platt, I believe, because it was set before An Unearthly Child, that one with the first Doctor. And then he was in the Lucy Miller and To the Death finale, which is where we thought his story had ended until the Time War range. Now, there's been, as the name would suggest, there's been 4 previous Time War volumes, this being Volume 5. The first 2 I don't think are completely necessary to listen to in advance. Again, this isn't an official list. This isn't Big Finish saying this. This is me saying this. So this is just what I would recommend. And of course, you don't have to listen to any of this. The idea is you can just jump straight in with these box sets and enjoy them. But if you do own these already and you want to re-listen to them in anticipation, or whether you would like to, you've thought about buying them and this is kind of your chance, you're thinking, well, which ones do I get? These are my recommendations. I would say, obviously, if you want to understand 3 and 4, you probably need to have at least listened to number 1 to kind of get the kind of opening of the story. But to be honest, 4's the big one you need to have listened to, I think, before number 5 to really enjoy it. Obviously, 5 takes place a little bit after number 4. I think it's a few months later. Obviously, ended with the cliffhanger that the 8th Doctor has been given his great-grandson Alex back by the Dalek time strategist. We're assuming it's from the multiverse, because the multiverse is involved in the story. It's a great box set. It's really the last 2-parter that you need to listen to, or at least I've been listening to. But I do love the 3rd box set, and of course the final story of the 3rd box set leads really nicely into the 4th one. So it gives you a little bit of context for listening to the 4th if you listen to the 3rd. So yeah, the big one here I'd say is the 4th one, simply because it kind of sets up the whole multiverse really from the first episode, and that's again the leading from the cliffhanger on the 3rd one. So it really sets up the multiverse. Episode 3, so there's opening 2-parter, I should say. The 3rd story is a nice kind of little distraction, does something a little bit different, and the last one kind of brings that multiverse thing back. We get Davros back, and we also get the setup for the return of Alex, and I believe it's also going to be how we're going to get Cass back as well, that it's from the multiverse, which is quite popular in sci-fi at the moment. So they're my big recommendations. Really, as I said, none of it will be required listening, but I will certainly be listening to Volume 4 in anticipation. Now, the only other thing I would recommend as a wild card is Susan's War. It's another Time War story. It's where the 8th Doctor meets Susan again. Susan has now been conscripted into the Time War. And at the end of the story, she is enlisted by a Rassilon. We're not sure where the story's going to go yet. We have been teased in, I think it's Vortex magazine, that her story is going to go somewhere. She will be appearing soon. I'm hoping it will be something like Gallifrey War Room. I'd love to see her meet the War Doctor. However, it could be that she comes up in Volume 5 or Volume 6 of 8th Doctor Time War, because of course it is her son who's been resurrected, or brought back from the multiverse. So that'd be really interesting. I think at some point they will be bringing her back into the fold, with this storyline. But what do you think? What have you been listening to in anticipation of this week's release? Do let me know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. I look forward to speaking to you soon.